Welcome to the channel, guys. I got something exciting, and I'm going to throw a shout out to Ask Ives Solar because I wouldn't be doing this video if it wasn't for him. So what do I have? Look right here. EcoFlow River Pro. About a couple months ago, and I just saw the video recently where he said Costco had a sale on this, and I looked it up, and sure enough, they did. But I just didn't opt out for that. I went for the bundle. So what do we have here? EcoFlow River Pro with the extra battery. Now, unfortunately, this is not on sale anymore, but these normally will run you about $1,000 together. Costco, $6.99 was the sale. I normally wouldn't have bought the Eco River Flow. As you know, I got a lot of Blue Eddy products. I like the LifePo system. I know the EB150 doesn't have LifePo, but it has over 2,000 cycles. But for the price, and what I'm looking at is 1,440 watt hours of battery capacity. I just could not pass that up for $6.99. It was too good of a deal. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give you a breakdown of what the Eco River Flow can do with the extra battery. So stay tuned and we'll give you that. All right, we're going to give you a rundown of this. And we did put this to the test last weekend, and there's something in front of the camera. I don't know what that is, but oh, that's the King of Rock and Roll. That's where we went. My son bought a birthday present for me. Me and my wife packed up the EcoFlow, the BougeRv, and we went to see the King's house. I hadn't been there since 1987, and I really wanted to go back and see it, so my son surprised me with some tickets to his house. So we went down there, and we thought it was a great opportunity to take the Eco River Flow because it just came in, and we put it to the test. So we're going to let the King take a break. He's left the building. So we're going to give you a rundown of everything this can do, and we're going to go over all the ports. But I wrote some notes down first, and I just want to, I'm bad at remembering things, and I don't want to tell you wrong. So excuse me for my notes, but we're going to take a look. First thing you want to know is how much this thing weighs. This has lithium-ion technology. It's not LifePo, okay? So the battery capacity is 720 watt hours, but it's 800 cycles to 80%. And basically what that means is it's going to last you a long time. If you take this from 100 down to 0, you can do it 800 times before you lose that top 20% of the battery capacity. But that doesn't mean, again, like you've heard this, a broken record. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that you're losing capacity. So instead of 740 times, or excuse me, 720, take 80% of that, and that's what it's reduced to. So I would imagine every so many cycles, your battery capacity is just going to keep going down, but that's what you're looking at. As far as the weight goes, it is lighter than, you know, the closest thing I can compare it to would be like the EB70. It's a little over 21, 22 pounds. Now, EcoFlow fibs a little bit because they say this comes in at 15.9. That's what's in the instruction manual. I weighed it at 17.2. Not a huge difference, but it is a little heavier than what they say. This does have a 600 watt inverter. Your outlets are back here. You got 3 AC outlets, and the inverter is good for 600 watts. And remember, don't confuse your inverter with your battery capacities, watt hours. Two totally different things. This means that you can run appliances up to 600 watts. The battery capacity of 720 is how long you can run that appliance. Excuse me. We have a USB-C power delivery port, 100 watts, right there. We have 2 USB 2. It doesn't give the watts. Let me look here. I got it wrote down, 2.4 watts, and then you do have a quick charge, a 3.0. So that has 3 amps that you can charge out here. You do have a regulated 12 volt adapter, and that's what we used to run our BougeRv while we were on the road to Graceland. and we got two 5521 ports right there. Very simple operation. I didn't think I would like the EcoFlow River Pro. I know the screen is amazing on this thing, but I just didn't think I would like it, but I actually really like the product. Let's turn it on right here. You can see, and I don't know how good the screen will show up here, but it's letting us know how long we can run something over here, which will be your 99. And right now we have nothing plugged into it, so it's saying it'll run it for 99 hours. We're at 80%, and then it'll give you your input and your output wattage. Now this does have a app for your phone, and I'll show you that as well. And you can see it's connected to Wi-Fi right there, so you can control this and turn it on and off with your phone. You do have a light, 3 modes, low, medium, and a strobe or SOS function. Again, we won't turn that on and blind you, but each one of these turns on individually. So right now your USB ports are on when you turn the main power on. If you want to access your 12 volt adapter and your 5521s, you just press that and they come on, and it'll let you know on the screen what is on. And your AC, just press a button there, those are on. And then it'll let you know what is ready to go on the screen. So that's basically a rundown of it. And while we got it here, let's just go ahead and bring the extra battery. And this is 100% charged. You do have a flip up that's right here, and that's where your cable hooks in. This is a very hefty cable, and it's almost like, if you're familiar with the old serial type connectors that used to hook to monitors on PCs, that's kind of what it's like. You got to make sure you get it lined up and the right end of the plug. So we're going to screw that down. It's a very thick gauge cable. And then on your River Pro, you got a flip down right here. So we're just going to open that up to make sure we got it lined up. And let me do something here before I mess up and turn everything off, because to hook this up, this machine needs to be off. And we're there. All right, we're plugged up, and you saw that it was at 80% just a second ago. Now we're going to turn the power back on. You see this light comes on here as well for the extra battery. And now if you notice, because this one's at 100%, that changed from 80 to 90 because it's reading both batteries now, not just the main battery. So when you hook this one up, it's going to equalize, and it's going to give you the overall percentage that you have left in the battery based off both of them when they're hooked together. When I unhook this will go back down to 80 or whatever this particular battery is. So there are no extra ports on the EcoFlow. It's just a battery on the expansion battery. You can turn it on and off over here. If you turn it off over here, you turn it off over there. So this cable connects them both together completely. And again, just another, we'll turn it on here, and you can see it turns it on there. So they're interchangeable. I don't know what else to do with this but to get some stuff plugged into it. We will talk about some other things that this EcoFlow River Pro can do, but let's plug a couple things up to it and let you see how it works. Okay, before we get to plugging some stuff into it, I kind of got ahead of myself, so I want to go over a couple more things about the EcoFlow River Pro. First off, we didn't show you this little compartment right here, which has your charging port for your AC. There's a circuit breaker here to reset for an overload. And then you also have your charging port for solar and for a 12 volt car outlet. I'll show you the 12 volt car outlet, and right now we're going to show you how fast this thing charges. It charges from 0 to 80% in an hour. Now, if you hook the extra battery, just double that. It's going to take 2 hours. So you can go 0 to 80 in 2 hours at 1,440 watt hours. And then if you want to get to 100%, it's 1.6 hours just off the main unit, and then 3.2 hours to 100% if you have both hooked together. Right now we're just going to show you because the main battery is already charged to 100%. So we're going to plug this in and show you how fast this thing charges. Let me get my power cord here. We're going to plug it right into the side. And then we're going to take and plug it into the EcoFlow. Turn the power on. And you should see it start to charge. You can see it spinning there. And you have to excuse me. I can't see, I'm old. Right now we're charging at 563 and it's going up. And there, it's leveled out. So this thing charges at 648 watts. So that's how you can get to 0 to 80% in an hour. 0 to 80% in 2 hours if you have this hooked up to the expansion battery. So this thing charges fast. Now, I'm probably not going to charge this thing this fast because I think if I take it slower, I might be able to get more life cycles out of it. I don't know if that's right or not, but to me it would make sense because when you charge at that rate, you're heating those lithium-ion batteries up, and batteries don't like heat. You degrade the battery life when they get really hot. But what is the advantage of that? If you have a power outage and you need a quick turnaround, this is the machine to go to because you can charge this thing up in an hour or 2 hours if you have the expansion battery back to 80%, so you could be back in business plugging this into a refrigerator, freezer, mini fridge, and so forth. So that's an example of how fast this thing charges because it puts out some watts. And it was at 78, 79, and now it's already up to 80. And it tells you right here, 31 minutes is how long it has left to take it to 100%. Okay? Okay. It also comes with 2 other sets of cables. This is for your car charger. It's an XT60 to cigarette lighter adapter. Plug this into your cigarette lighter adapter in your car, and then basically plug in the XT60 there, and it will charge. Now I will show that. Just stay tuned because that'll be coming up. The other way to charge is from solar, and I did hook this up to my SP200 Blue LED solar panel, and I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to show you a little trick here too, just because I'm excited about it. But this is your solar hookup. Basically, you plug it into the same connection. In the EcoFlow app, it's set to auto, so it will determine and know whether you've got this plugged into solar or into your car. So you don't have to do any switching. Now you can go in and manually switch it if you want to, but you can leave it set to auto and it will do either one. But I got this little gizmo that I'm going to be showing you in a later video, but we're going to simulate some solar right here. This will take 25 volts. So we have our power supply set to 25 volts, and we're going to hook our MC4 up to it, and we will start charging here in a second. Let the MPPT charge controller recognize, and there you can see it's starting to charge. So now we can charge from solar, and this will take up to 200 watts of solar. Let me get my old man glasses here again because I can't see the screen. And we're at 194 watts. So we're just simulating that we have this hooked up to solar right now. 194 watts going in, and at that rate it would take 1 hour to take this from the 81% where it's at to 100. So I will show you that what it did when I had it hooked up to the SP200 as well. But while I was here, I just wanted to show you that. And there's going to be upcoming video on this little thing, because this is a game changer for me and my system. And just stay tuned, because we're going to be coming back to this thing in the future. But there's the example of how the charging works. AC adapter, 12 volt cigarette lighter, 200 watts of solar. Do not exceed 25 volts though. That's the most that this thing can take. If you do more than that, you run the possibility of burning it up. So stay under 25 volts and you should get you 200 watts. That's the SP200 Blue Eddy solar panel, and we're charging our EcoFlow River Pro with it right now. Take a look and see what we're getting. A 125 watts coming in. See if we can't get a better view. There's a better view. 155, 54, bouncing around there. Got as high as 160 a second ago. But the panel's doing a good job in a partially cloudy day where the sun keeps going in and out. So the panel will charge it and does a good job at it. Alright, we're going to show the Echo River Flow charging from the 12 volt outlet in my car. Now I'm going to have to get kind of close to this screen with the camera, because the EcoFlow screen does not like to be recorded. So we are going to plug it in. Car is running. I wouldn't recommend charging without the vehicle running. You can see it's starting to go up. So you can charge it from your vehicle's 12 volt outlet, and we're getting between 97 and 103, 104 volts. See if it settles down there a little bit. So let's just say we're going to get an average of probably 100 watts, excuse me. So it's a 720 watt hour battery. You're looking at 7 to 10 hours charging this battery from your vehicle's 12 volt outlet. Another thing I want to touch on that the EcoFlow has that no other Blue Eddy power stations that I have, this has a UPS. Now it's not a true, it's an entry level UPS. So there's about a 35 millisecond delay. So right now I have the EcoFlow River Pro plugged in to my EB150. It's charging, but I have a fan running. And basically what's happening is the EB150 is running the fan and charging the River Pro at the same time. I have the fan down here. I will show it to you. Let's see if we can just set it up here. Don't want to blow our system over here, but when I turn this off, you'll hear a slight hesitation, and this fan will keep going because that's the UPS feature. It'll cease to stop running off the EB150 and then start running off the Eco River Pro. So here we go. I don't know if you heard it, but there was a slight hesitation, and now it's continuing to run because the AC is off on the EB150, and the Eco River Pro now is running the fan. So where would that come in handy? Maybe for a refrigerator, maybe for a CPAP machine, maybe for a piece of medical equipment that you're worried about losing power to. That's one thing that I really like about the Eco River Flow or River Pro is that feature. Now again, it's not a true UPS. There is a slight delay. If you have a computer hooked to this, you probably will shut that computer off, because I don't know if it will be quick enough to keep your computer running. But for CPAPs, for refrigerators, you know, for fans, you know, for a lot of other things, you can use this. And what I would recommend is test it. Put it into a power source, plug it into the AC side, and then cut power off to the main supply and see if it continues to carry over. That's one way to do it. Just try it and make sure that it works, because it is a nice feature. And where I see it really coming into play, you know, for somebody like me, is for refrigerators, mini fridges, freezers, that if you were to lose power and you're not at home, that this would kick in and take that job over. So just something that I really liked about the EcoFlow River Pro. All right, now let's get down to some fun stuff. Hey, Elvis, it's time for you to leave the building again. Sorry about that. He is the star of the show. But let's get down to some fun stuff, testing these products with charging a Bose portable speaker. We've got a cell phone and a fire tablet. And we're going to show you how you can run a toaster off this thing too. There is a feature that this EcoFlow River Pro has that not many power stations do. I think it's patented through them. Don't quote me on that, but I think they have a patent on it. But it's called X-Boost, and it's good and bad. And I'll tell you the good and the bad about it, okay? So let's go ahead and turn this on. Right now we just have these three items plugged in, and they should start charging as soon as we take off. There, you heard that kick on, the phone kicked on, and we can see how many volts, how many watts. About 30 watts charging all three of these things right now. We also have a BougeRv. Now, one thing I do like is these plugs are independent. If you just need the USBs down here, you don't have to turn this on. So that helps prolong your battery life. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in, and then you actually have to turn this on for that outlet to work. We heard our BougeRv. We're going to turn power on, and it should kick on here in a second. Let's see. There we go. Compressor just kicked on, and it's bouncing around. We'll see where it settles in at. It's going to jump around a little bit, but we're looking around 70 to 80 watts charging all these items right here. So let's talk about X-Boost. This is an 1800 watt toaster. Well, we're going to unplug our fire tablet because it's being annoying right now, and get it out of the way. But anyway, the X-Boost. Let's talk about that for a second. This is an 1800 watt toaster. All right, this can't run that by itself, and I'm tempted to show you by turning the X-Boost off and hopefully not damaging the EcoFlow, because the only way you can turn X-Boost on or off is in the app. I'm not going to be able to show you how to run this app, but I'll try to show you. And again, I don't know how good this is going to show up on camera, but there's all your controls. You can turn the light on, and let's just do that. Should come on here in a second. There it goes. So we'll turn it off. We can turn our DC outlets on and off through the app. I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but I did want to show you this while I had it on. And you just heard the BougeRv kick off because we just turned it on. So now we're going to turn it back on. There it went. And now we can, yeah, it's back on there too. Okay, so we're going to leave X-Boost off, and we're going to try to run this toaster. Going to turn our AC on. Got it plugged in. It did it beeped. Let's toast. Yep, and you can see it just kicked it off. It will not run this toaster. All right. This is an 1800 watt toaster. Even if I'm using one side, it is what, 950 some watts. It's just too much for this. This is a 600 watt inverter, 1200 watts peak. But X-Boost changes the game. And again, I told you it's good and bad. You can't use X-Boost on everything. Now, one thing I don't like about this is, which I'm having trouble with right now, it did kick on. It's a little slow on the app. The app is a little bit slow. There's a delay, as you've seen how long it took it to come on, but the X-Boost is back on. So now let's do this same thing. Oh, we need to reset. Our toaster come up, and we're going to toast. Guess what? It didn't kick off. Fan's kicking on. What X-Boost does is it allows this EcoFlow River Pro to power items up to 1800 watts. If you can see on the screen, it's only putting out, well, it's saying about 647. Now, your DC is still using that too, but on the inverter side, 600 watts is the most that's coming out of that side. Now, it's hot and it's toasting. And we're going to turn that down just a little bit because we might burn it. But the way it does it is it reduces the voltage in order to accommodate the 1800 watts. So you can only use this on something that has a heating element. You can use it on toasters, on portable heaters, on hair dryers, anything that has a heating element in. You could use it on a induction hot plate. That's where the X-Boost will shine. If you use it on anything that's sensitive equipment, you run the risk of damaging that equipment because it's reducing the voltage in order to operate the machinery or the appliance or what have you. So you want to be very careful how you use the X-Boost. Now, I did do one thing with this, and I would do it only in an emergency. Is you saw, if you haven't seen my EB70 review where it, I had it hooked up to my transfer switch and it ran my refrigerators and freezers. This won't do it unless you use the X-Boost feature. Reason being is the surge, and I tried it on my refrigerator. This will not run it straight out based on the 1600 watt inverter. And there you can see we did toast. I turned it down so it's not as brown, but that is toast. So it will run that. You heard the fan kick off, and well, we're just back down to what these items are taking. So you can use something with a heating element. But going back to the refrigerator, it would not run my refrigerator straight out. So this refrigerator sitting right over here. My EB70 ran it no problem, handled the surge of it kicking on and off. The EcoFlow River Pro would not do that because the surge was more than the 1200 surge watts that it's capable of. But I turned X-Boost on. Then it ran my refrigerator. Now, the good thing about that is in an emergency, you could operate a refrigerator with this, okay? Because really what you're doing is you're reducing the voltage down in order to handle the surge of that compressor kicking on. So once it does that, then it drops down, and this particular refrigerator in my kitchen only runs at about 94 to 100 watts when the compressor, once it's surged and it's running at constant speed. So you're only burning 100 watts when it's running. So this will handle that. So it will run the refrigerator, but I have to use the X-Boost for it to handle the surge. So I just wanted to point that out, to be real careful how you use X-Boost. It's a great feature. And where I can see it is if you're camping and you want to make some toast. you want to make a pot of coffee. You want that little space heater that's a 1500 watt space heater that this wouldn't run otherwise. It's not going to hurt those types of appliances. But just be careful how you use it, and I just wanted to point that out because the X-Boost is an awesome feature. I love it and I hate it. Be careful how you use it, that's all I'm saying. All right, let's see if it'll make a pot of coffee. We're going to use a Keurig single K-cup. See the watts there? The X-Boost is lowered the voltage down to 76.8 to keep it at 600 watts. Starting to hear some heat. Voltage has come back up to 99. Still 540. I'm just waiting to see some coffee come out of there. And here we go. It is making coffee. Probably took about 3 minutes longer than it normally would, but it did make it. Okay, our voltage is reset. And there we go. Cup of coffee. And it is hot. Did a good job. Okay, so I want to show you, you download the app, do it in the App Store. Once you load your device, and like I say, I'm not going to get into all that, but you got a plus arrow up there to add devices. And basically once you get it connected, this is what your EcoFlow River Pro app looks like. And basically you get your temperature, you get what you're charged at, and it's going to let you know where you're at over here. But right now we have 30 watts of output, and I hooked up my power supply just to show you we're simulating 194 watts of solar coming in. So it'll give you all that information. That's why your gauge over here is not working. Now if I unplug that, we'll see if it does. We'll learn here together. There you go. It sets it back to how many hours it's going to run my BougeRv, which is still plugged into it, and what the battery level was at. It's at 80%, and then the temperature of the battery internally. We plug it back in, and that screen will go back to showing you what is going to be input. Give it a second for the MPPT charge controller to figure it out. And there you go. We have wattage coming in. We lose our percentage of our fuel gauge over here, but we do have it right there. And you can see, I don't know how well that's showing up, but it's showing that it's going up, which means it is charging right now. Your controls, this is how it's turning the X-Boost on and off. You just tap that, and that will turn your X-Boost on or off. If you come down here, it has your light feature, and you don't have to cycle through on the app. If I want, I can hit the power button on, or I can just hit, let's say, the dim. And there it's on, okay? And then if I just want to hit it again, it didn't do nothing, so we have to hit the power switch. There we go. So it went off. So when they're off, you can hit either one of them. If you want the SOS, the medium, or the low, and then the bright, you just hit them. And then you can scroll down and you got your 12 volt DC outlets. Now there's a power switch on those because on your EcoFlow River Pro there's a power switch on it, okay? I don't want to turn it off because you can tell, it'll tell you it's the 12 volt outlet. It even gives you a picture there. There's your 5521s down there and how many watts that are coming out of that port right now. So I don't want to turn it off because I got my BougeRv and I got some food in there, so we're going to leave that alone. But you could turn it on and off there. Let's turn the AC off because nothing's plugged into it and you can see it go off. And again, that's my big complaint, is that it takes forever, but you did see it's not backlit now, it is off. And then these outlets, when you turn your EcoFlow River Pro on, those are already live. We have nothing plugged into them right now, but if you did, it would tell you what each port is putting out, which is kind of nice compared to your overall screen where it's just giving you the overall watts from everything that's plugged in, okay? And then you can change settings. And I'll try not to go through all these, but you can change your discharge level and your charge level. And to me, that's a little misleading because I haven't figured out how to change the discharge. It'll allow me to change the charge, which is basically click on it. If I just want to charge to, say, 85%, hit confirm. And then when it hits 85, it'll stop charging, okay? They say if you do that, you can get more cycles out of your battery. So that's a nice trick to know. You can change that to whatever you want. I think it is if you go, let's see if we go to 80%, if it will interrupt the charge that we're getting right now. And it just went to 0. So you could see that right there, no longer charging. Stay on that and I will take it back up to 100%. Give it a second. And there you can see it just changed back over because we changed our charge level back to 100 and now it's charging again, okay? You can change your car input. I'm not messing with that. I'm leaving it on 8 amps. This is your slow charging. If you want to, say you don't want to charge your AC output at 660 watts, you can basically turn that on and it will charge about what you would get from your cigarette lighter adapter. Here's the feature I was talking about to you with the DC mode. You can change that to solar or to car charging or auto. We're going to leave it in auto. That way your MPPT charge controller can figure out that for itself. You can set your timeouts for your unit, timeouts for the screen, which is the display there that I have it set to 30 minutes. Looks like I might have a firmware update, but you click on that and it's checking. Nope, my firmware is up to date. So this does have updates. So that's a quick run through of the EcoFlow River Pro app. All right, guys. What do you think of the EcoFlow River Pro? I like it. I think it's a good product. I never would have bought it had Ask Ive Solar had not mentioned it on his channel. I saw it, went to the website, found it, and for $6.99, I think it was a great deal. Keep an eye out because Black Friday's coming up, Christmas is coming up. At that price, it's definitely worth the money. Has some great features. Now, how does it compare to the EB70? I love the EB70. If I had to choose between the two, I would probably choose my EB70. But there are some things that this has that it doesn't, that I like better. And one of them is this daggone screen is amazing. It tells you everything you want to know. I wish Blue Eddy would do something like this. The AC200P has a great screen, but it's small and hard to read. Come on, we need a screen like this on some of the Blue Eddy products, but this thing is amazing. So the inverter, the X Boost, is a great feature. Use it wisely is all I can say. Heating elements, you're not going to go wrong if you use it with stuff that has heating elements. In an emergency, you can run a refrigerator with the X-Boost on to handle that surge, because it's going to drop back down and probably only run at 100, 200, 300 watts. So you can get away with that. Just be aware that when you use this on a refrigerator or an air conditioner, that initial surge, it's going to drop the voltage coming out of these AC outlets to those appliances, and you could damage them. Just warning you. I don't, how often I would do it is probably never, except in an emergency. I did try it once just to see if it would work, and it did work. But my EB70 handles it, just so you know. But I like the product. And what did I get it for? For one, the price was great, but I'm all about watt hours. I'm about battery capacity. This is $699 with the expansion pack for 1,440 watt hours of battery capacity. Go look at a Battleborn battery, just the battery. You might be able to find it for $800, $900. So the Battleborn battery is giving you about 1,260 watt hours of capacity. With this in the battery expansion, 1,440 watt hours. Yeah, there is a difference, lithium ion versus lithium iron phosphate in the Battleborn, but what I'm all about is storage. I want to be able to have power stored, and watt hours to me is where it's at. Your biggest expense when you're getting into solar is batteries and solar panels. Solar panels are not that expensive by themselves, but you need many of them to generate the power that you need to charge the equipment that you have. So when I see something for $699 that's giving me over 1,400 watt hours, I'm all over it. That's the reason why I have the EB150. It's 1,500 watt hours, and I got it for way less than what it's listed at on Blue Eddy's website. So I got that on sale, and that's why I have it. And I'm going to make a video coming up here showing you how you can make all that battery capacity work for you. I give you a little bit of a hint with the power supply that I had. I also got something in the mail recently, which is called a DC charge enhancer from Blue Eddy. These two items together change the game for me on how I can use my solar generators. Now, there's many ways you can go about solar. I like the power stations. I have a system in my shed that is, the old-fashioned, you buy all the parts and put it together. That was the first system I done, and I'll show that to you eventually. But I just want to touch base with why this was attractive to me at that price. $1,440, $699. You just can't beat it. So just keep in mind, watt hours is how many hours you can run something. And if you have limited storage capacity, you have limited ability to run your appliances in the event of an emergency, in a long-term situation. So you need to have solar, and you need to have battery capacity. You can do it with solar generators. You can do it by building your own system, buying your charge controller, buying your inverter, and all those things. It doesn't matter how you do it, but no, batteries, solar panels are the backbone to any type of solar system. So that's the reason why I got this EcoFlow at that price, because I couldn't walk away from 1,440 watts at that price. Now, you can find cheap LiFePO batteries, and I'm tempted by some of them, but I'm worried because you can find them now for around anywhere from $399 all the way up to about $700 just for that LiFePO battery. And I love the life cycles, but do you trust the BMS on them? They're cheap for a reason. Now, if you watch some of Will Prowse's, he's broken down some of them and found a lot of them are garbage. He's found a few gems out there, and as soon as he puts that out there, the price on those go through the roof because he gives them his stamp of approval. So there's a lot of batteries out there that you can get for sub 500, but you don't know what you're getting. I'm not going to say that I might not take a gamble on one of them in the future, because I might, but I know what kind of quality I'm going to get from an EcoFlow, from a Blue Eddy, you know, from some of these other companies that you Go Zero. I don't have anything from Go Zero, but Jackery, you know that you're going to get quality when you deal with those name brands. So when I see a name brand selling for that price, I'm all over it. So I've went a little bit long here. We're going to cut it short. If you like the content, again, like and subscribe to the channel. And if I've missed anything, or you have any questions about the EcoFlow, leave them in the comments down below. And I do answer all my comments, whether they're good or bad. I've got some good ones, I've got some bad ones. We take all comers. I'm, you know, again, like I've told you, just an everyday old country boy, and this is the way I do things. I'm trying to pass on what I'm learning, and I hope it's helpful to you. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button. It'll let you know when a new video pops up. And thank you for your viewership, and have a blessed day.